And I'm gonna stop recording. Actually, I guess we are recording now. Actually, it's working pretty fine. It's working okay. We had a test run with it and it's working good.
Okay. So is there any reason we're not going live then next time?
Well, you know that our next meeting is the 14th and that is the election. So election has our chambers. So we'll be doing Zoom our next meeting.
Well, Tracy's got a meeting room. Two birds with one stone. We can eat and meet. Wow. Are you working off your phone, Seth?
I am attempting to.
Oh, gosh. Spend some money. Buy a laptop.
It is 9 o'clock, but I see that our board clerk stepped away, so we'll wait for her to return.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready, Mary. Oops, you're muted.
Give me just a couple of seconds. Mike Chikazi, I believe, just got in. So it looks like we are good to go.
Great, thank you. Welcome to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 9 a.m. As a courtesy to others, please have your microphone muted at all times when you are not speaking. All items on the agenda, other than special presentations, correspondence, and board and staff member reports, are considered items for which the board may take action. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on action items on the agenda when that item is heard, and comment shall be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. Supervisor Fletcher, will you lead us in the pledge this morning, please?
Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Mary, next up is roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Here.
Supervisor Blazer,
Here.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Here.
Supervisor Bradford,
Here.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Here.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up on the agenda is the consent agenda. So all matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. Okay, I have a first from Supervisor Vasquez and a second from Supervisor Fletcher. Are there any board comments on the consent agenda?
If you don't mind, I'd like to move number 409 for a little more discussion.
Okay, you'd like to pull that, or you just have a quick question you want to take now before we move forward?
Well, it might be a more complicated question.
Okay, we'll pull that and move it down to the regular agenda. Thanks, Supervisor. Are there any public comments on the consent agenda? Okay, I do see we have one public comment from Courtney. Whoops. Mary, are you able to, I don't know what happened to Courtney.
Hi, Supervisor Bradford. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes.
I made a mistake. I was listening when you said public comments, so that's my mistake. Sorry about that.
No problem. Looks like we also have a public comment from Rachel Christ.
Through the chair, I will ask just to bear with us a minute. We've got to go ahead and find them. And we do have 66 participants, so it may take us a while, okay?
No problem.
Good. Sorry.
This is Rachel Christ again. My public comment will be for later. I apologize.
Okay. So it appears there's no public comment on the consent agenda at this time. So with that, I will request a roll call vote with everything with the exception of item 409.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr.
Yeah.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So now we will move on to special presentations. Item 355, 2021, receive wildfire prevention grant update by Yuba Watershed Protection and Fire Safe Council. Do we have someone on?
I think
from
that's
the-
Allison. Allison, you're muted.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, it wouldn't let me unmute myself. Great. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for having me here today. I actually have a quick presentation for you. So give me a second to share my screen as I figure this out. All right. Enough, everyone. Let me see. Let's get in presentation mode. How does that look? Somehow your face has disappeared, so I can't see if you're giving me a thumbs up. But hearing none,
You can see the presentation.
Okay, great.
Looks good.
Thank you. Great. So good morning, everyone. Supervisors, thank you so much for having me here today. For anyone I haven't met yet, my name is Allison Thompson. I am the new Executive Director of the Yuba Watershed Protection and Fire Safe Council. I've been here almost 2 months now, so while a lot of the work we'll cover in today's presentation are ongoing projects, some of the work did happen before my time. So if you have specific questions, I will do my very best to answer them. So today I am going to cover our progress on the Yuba County Wildfire Prevention Grant that was awarded to the Fire Safe Council in August of 2020, so just about a year ago. This was a $250,000 grant that we are incredibly grateful for. And I will show you today the wide array of programs it has been able to support. So as you can see here, this grant included many different items. I will touch on each of them today, though some rather briefly, and I will highlight a couple successes we've had as well as looking ahead to the future. And so to help us move through these activities, I've broken this long list into 4 categories that we'll look at today. And those you can see here are operations and capacity building, outreach, residential programs, and fuels reduction. So first up is operations and capacity building. So $30,000 was awarded toward the Fire Safe Council's operating budget. We are also fortunate enough to have funding from some other sources as well. We were able to use as match, and that is to support our general operations. So you can see we have been using that funding, and that goes toward things like insurance, payroll taxes, and then some additional support of other projects that we'll get to later in the presentation. But we still do have a comfortable amount left to keep us moving forward, and we do feel really fortunate to have that great cushion there. And then also, this grant is not just about the Fire Safe Council. It also included funding for 3 other organizations that we passed the funding on to, and that includes the Yuba County Resource Conservation District, as they are kind of just getting started. Also the Oregon Peak Lookout Volunteers and the Alcoof Community Center in Oregon House. So for the outreach and education piece, we have used about 1/4 of the amount designated for outreach and education so far. And most of that thus far went to build our new website. And then we are also currently developing a program brochure that this will fund, as well as any other outreach needs like printing or advertising or signage that arise with our upcoming projects. And hopefully we'll have more of those as we hopefully emerge out of COVID one of these days soon. We're crossing our fingers. So, and then the calendar, the next item on this list here, that's its own special budget item. So we have produced a calendar the past 2 years that we distribute to the community for free. These calendars contain information about how residents can keep themselves and their community more fire safe. And so this funding was actually intended to go toward producing the 2021 calendar for this last year, but we ended up receiving match funding from a different grant last year that paid for the 2021 calendar. So we'll be able to actually use this grant's funding to produce next year's 2022 calendar, which is a great help to our budget. So yes, and that 2022 calendar is currently in the works, and it should be ready to distribute by November of this year. So be on the lookout for that. All right, next up are our residential programs. So we have our reflective address sign program, and these signs are really important for first responders to find residences in case of emergency, and especially at night as they're retro-reflective. So we make these signs available to Yuba County Foothill residents. We suggest a donation, but we don't require it. This has been a really successful program for us. The funding from this grant really kickstarted it, but then we've also brought in an equal amount in donations from both local residents as well as a local timberland owner who has now sponsored 300 signs so far. And as of last week, we have 32 signs left under that donation and have provided a total of 316 signs to our Foothill residents, with more applications coming in every day. And so if you take a drive anywhere in the foothills, you can see these signs have popped up all over the place. They really do make driveways stand out and help out our first responders. So we are really happy about this program and plan to continue it until everyone has a sign on their driveway, we hope. All right, and the next
quick comment on that, Allison. I'll tell
Yes.
you, it is excellent for, on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, the Fire Department, ambulance, again, any first responder, that when you get into the foothills, it's hard to see in the night. So really, really like that program. Thank you for doing that. Absolutely,
absolutely. It's great. It's relatively simple, but with a huge impact. So we love doing it. All right, next on the list for our residential programs, we have the free greenway stays. And so this is an event where residents can bring their green waste or woody debris to a central location to dispose of for free. We did hold one greenway stay in conjunction with another general waste disposal day back in May, I believe. This was one program before my time. But because of the way that worked out, doing it in conjunction with another event, we still have funding left under this activity. And we plan to hold a couple of these events next spring, early summer, when people are doing a bit more clearing work on their lands. So more to come on the green waste days in the future. And then the residential chipper program. So this provides free chipping services for up to 3 hours per residence, homeowners do the clearing and piling work themselves. They submit an application, and then we send a contractor in to chip the material for them and reduce that fire hazard. So this program is another great one. It's been growing steadily over time. We started it in October of 2020, so just last year. And in that time, we've chipped on 39 residences, and we have another 8 already on the list. We're hoping to chip again in early September. And as you can see on the slide here, we have used well over half of the funding allocated for this chipping work. We still have a fair bit left, but as this program continues to grow, we'll be looking for additional funding sources to be able to keep the service going for our residents, because it is getting utilized a lot. I just got an unstable internet connection also, so anyone let me know if I cut out, but I'll keep going unless I hear. All right, the last category here is fuels reduction. And so this category accounted for about half of the total budget of this grant. The work included here is all roadside vegetation clearing within the county right away, and is really focused on egress and ingress routes, really improving that evacuation and first responder access in the case of emergency. And then also a significant percentage of wildfires do start along the roadside. So we are doing what we can to reduce the chance of a fire taking off from the roadway by clearing out that vegetation. So we have 2 projects in this category so far. That's the CSA 2 Evacuation Improvement Project, which was completed last year, and then the Willow Glen Road, which is currently underway, and it falls under this roadside clearing piece here. So I have a couple more slides to go in depth on those projects. So the CSA 2 Evacuation Improvement that took place at winter on about 2.5 miles of Regent Way and Wild Acres Way in Oregon House. This was a 75% cost share project in partnership with Yuba County Public Works. And as you can see in these photos here, a lot of the brush and small trees and overhanging vegetation, kind of see here, was removed. This is our before and then our after on the right. And here are just a couple more photos. These aren't exactly from the same place, but it does give you an idea of what the roads looked like before on the left hand there, and after on the right. That's after some mastication work was completed. And then, so Willow Glen Road, we just started a couple weeks ago working up in Brownsville, and we are working down on both sides of the road toward Oregon House. The full length of this project is about 7 miles. So the first $45,000 that we've committed to the Willow Glen project is unlikely to cover the whole length of the road, because this is tough and expensive work. But we do have more funding left in that budget. And the way this project was set up is we will see how far that first 45,000 gets us and how the rest of it looks. And then we'll see whether it makes sense to use the remainder of the funding to continue on Willow Glen, or to move over to another road like LaPorte or Frenchtown Road. Those are some high priorities as well. And we're just trying to stretch those dollars and make them as beneficial to the community as possible. So that is Willow Glen Road. Here are a couple more photos from Willow Glen. Again, these are not taken from the same spot, but you can see on the left-hand side is a before photo with all that brush, and on the right is actually in progress. The left-hand side in the photo has been cleared and is waiting to be chipped, and then the right-hand side has not been treated yet, but it will be soon. And here are a couple more photos from Willow Glen. Again, a before photo on the left, and that thick wall of brush there. And then on the right-hand photo, this is actually the Glen Fire from just a couple weeks ago. So this was on Willow Glen Road, a couple miles down from where our crew was working. And this is exactly what we are trying to avoid with this work. But as you can see here, if we don't clear it, the fire will, and not necessarily in the way that we would like it to. And unfortunately, this fire was almost 200 acres, and 10 structures were lost in that fire. We are glad it wasn't any larger, but we still don't want this happening at all. So what this tells me is we have a lot of work to do and it can't happen soon enough. And so my next slide, just a couple more photos of other roads. These were both taken along LaPorte Road, like I mentioned, is another high priority project for us. You can see it needs a lot of attention with all that brush, especially in the left-hand photo there. So I think what all of these photos show, like I just mentioned, there's a lot of work to be done, and this grant has been a great step forward protecting our foothills, but the work truly really never ends. So just to come back to the overall budget, it is a lot of numbers here, but we have run through them all just now rather quickly.
Before you
Yes.
leave those photos, Allison, a quick
Absolutely.
comment. I'll tell you my opinion, critical work that needs to be done. And what I saw in the pictures, it's all manual labor. I did talk with the general contractor over the weekend. He would like to do some mastication, but the risk of doing mastication too great at the moment. If you hit a rock, you can start a fire. So everything that's been done so far is all hand labor. Most expensive part of all of this, but for evacuations, critical. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of fires start next to the roadways. If you can eliminate a lot of your fuel, then you reduce the opportunity for the fire to spread quickly. And it's a huge benefit to the community. So this piece of the puzzle, really, really important. You've had a lot of dollars in this, but we can handle a lot more because of the exposure to our fire and our community. So thank you for the photos. I think that really helps. 1,000 words tied to those photos. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, yes, and so to come back to the overall budget here, like I said, it's a lot of numbers, but one change here I would like to note is we did redirect some funds from that roadside clearing budget just last month, from the roadside clearing and our operating fund, and we moved that to another one of our programs. It's Special Needs Defensible Space Program. And we did that to help treat more defensible space around homes for our low-income, disabled, and elderly residents. It's a program we've had ongoing for the past few years, and it was severely underfunded this year. So we just provided some match dollars to help treat a few more homes for our residents. And I'm happy to go more into depth on that project, but I think I am running a little short on time today. So that's what you can see reflected here in the changes column. And then with all of that, you can see the totals at the bottom. Again, this was a $250,000 grant. We have used or are in the process of using that almost $148,000 plus the $20,000 that is going to the special needs program. So including the match that we've been able to receive, that leaves us with about $133,000 remaining. And most of that we do have specific plans for, like calendar, the chipper program, roadside clearing. These are all great programs that we are continuing. So just to wrap up, this funding has been incredibly important to improving the fire safety of our foothill communities. We have gotten a lot of work done, and as you can see, we have a lot more work to do. But I do really want to thank the supervisors, everyone here, your support of our programs. And I look forward to continuing this important work and continuing to grow the Fire Safety Council and our impact on the community. And I am so appreciative of your support to help us do so. So with that, I am happy to take questions, or if we're short on time, also feel free to just reach out to me afterwards. My contact info is on the screen here.
Very good presentation, Allison. You know, it's proof of Yuba County doesn't just talk about it, they do it. And
Absolutely.
thank you.
Through the chair, Allison, if you would prepare some type of a budget moving forward, What could you do with additional funds that could be brought back to the board if there's a way of finding additional funds to do more work? If you will put that together sooner than later, hopefully we get through this fire season and then we have the opportunity during the winter to do more mastication that's not a fire risk. It can be expensive, but again, invaluable to the community. So hopefully you'll work on that soon.
Yes, yes, I would be happy to. I have a lot of ideas. and as I was saying, a lot of work to do. So
thank you.
Be happy to.
Great.
Any other questions?
Seeing looks like none. So Allison, I just want to say thank you for the presentation today. It was very informative and really appreciate the work that the Fire Safe Council is doing in the foothills to try to increase protection for our residents. So it's great. So any questions or comments from other board members? Okay. Seeing none, then we will go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public communications. Any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. If you wish to comment, you can use the raise hands function located on the bottom ribbon in Zoom, or you can press *9 if you're calling in. You may also send a query to the meeting host via the chat icon located on the bottom ribbon. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. I believe we may have a lot of public comment today, so I will be starting a timer at the beginning of each member of the public when they start speaking. And I would certainly appreciate it if when that timer goes off, you immediately wrap up your comments so we can move on to the next individual and give as many individuals the opportunity to speak as possible. So that would be greatly appreciated. So first up, we're going to take Courtney.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Really sorry we missed you guys this morning. We have about 80 people outside your government building right now who were hoping to see you, who all are very interested in speaking. So I'm just really disappointed in, I guess, your approach to a representative government and democracy, Mr. Bradford. But I am also disappointed in the fact that the resolution or ordinance banning vaccination passports that we submitted to you 2 months ago has not been recognized, has not been supported, has not been able to come before the board. I don't believe that that is an absurd request. I don't believe that it's inappropriate to request that we don't see discrimination in public accommodation here in Yuba County. And frankly, I would really like some feedback from the board and the staff as to why we haven't seen that. What is the issue that's holding that up? Is this board one that is supportive of discrimination in their county? Is this a board that, you know, looks to terminate people based on individual decisions? I don't know how this board would address, let's say, if Rayleigh's or Walmart decided that they were only going to allow white people into their stores. They're going to say, oh, no Asians on Tuesdays. I wonder how this board would react to that. I don't know how you guys will react to only vaccinated people allowed in gyms, allowed in grocery stores. And frankly, I think the people of your county want to know where you stand on the issue and are looking for your leadership on this issue specifically. The people of this county are looking for you to create an ordinance banning vaccination passports. And you have 80 people outside your government building right now demanding that, who wanted to see you in person today. Unfortunately, because of your strange COVID rules, we have to go back to this platform that I think about 10 people won't be able to comment on because of the issues with technology that we all know are so prevalent. This is really just shame on you guys on all levels. I'm really disappointed with you as a board, and I'm hoping that you guys can change and feel convicted in your heart to stand up for your community. and to not be Gavin Newsom, to be something better that represents the actual people who live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to go with Miss Christ.
I'm trying. Oh, there we are. Okay. Hello. Obviously, I'm not Rachel. I am Rachel's husband. But I'm using her phone because I have some things written on my phone that I just wanted to share with you guys today. So first of all, thank you guys for what you do, for our community, our counties. I understand that every decision is not going to be popular with everybody, and but I just want to say thank you guys for serving our counties in your capacity. I want to address several points this morning concerning the vaccine mandates and vaccine passports. I understand you have been given a copy of a resolution that was presented to the San Benito County Board of Supervisors that would prohibit businesses from requiring employees or patrons to show proof of a COVID-19 vaccine. I'm aware also that that resolution did not pass in San Benito County, but I don't think that's a reason why we can't take the framework of that resolution and make something workable here for Yuba Sutter. This needs to get done, and it needs to get done soon. I have friends that are going to be losing jobs soon if this does not get done. If we're going to mandate something, I think we should mandate choice. Let's mandate an individual's right to choose and to decide what's best for themselves and their family. Nuremberg codes state that consent must be voluntary. Mandates are not voluntary. Threatening someone's ability to provide for their family is not voluntary. That is coercion, and coercion is not an American value. In America, we have choice. It is a God-given right that he gives us, and no man can take that away from us. Government exists to protect our rights, not our health. Protecting the health of myself and my family is my responsibility. To not do so now, to not ban these passports would be a failure of your duty. Government can help to facilitate treatment options, but it cannot mandate which one I choose to use. And there are times in life, guys, when we just have to plant our feet in the ground and say enough is enough. And I think we're there with these COVID regulations and mandates. We the people say enough is enough. This is not communist China. This is America. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave. We are a free nation that affords free people the right to choose for themselves what is best for them and their families. A COVID diagnosis is not a death sentence, and the vaccine is not the only treatment. There are multiple treatments available, therapeutics available to choose from, ivermectin being one of them. Now, yesterday, the Pfizer jab was approved by the FDA, and ironically, but not at all suspiciously, it also warned us against using the much cheaper drug ivermectin. But here's the thing, through their studies, the American Journal of Therapeutics came to this conclusion regarding ivermectin. And I quote from their
Please wrap it up,
study,
Mr. Chris, your time is up.
Point of order.
Please
Okay.
wrap it up.
Okay, I will skip through. So here's my thing. You guys, give me a 30-second story from the Bible. David and Goliath.
No, sir.
David goes down to the
Point of
river.
order.
You can have like one sentence to wrap up your comments. Your
Okay,
3 minutes are over, sir.
get these mandates done, guys. Get these mandates done. Or out. We don't want them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chris. Okay, let's go with Mr. Rob Drown next.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
I'm Rob Drown. I live in Olivehurst, and I'd like to ratify the previous speaker. What he said was right on. We must stand up to the tyranny that's being imposed upon us. You're our leaders. You serve us. The leaders are servants, and you are our public servants. You've asked for this job. and we pray and hope that you do the very best job that you can. And we pray for you that things go well for you. Please lead us. Please protect us. Please give us the choice to do what we believe is right. Mandates are top-down, boot heel, controlling actions by people that want our servitude, not our freedom. Please, please honor yourselves, honor God, and honor us by protecting us from the tyranny that's coming at us. That's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drown. Next up, let's do Lou.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Lou Benninger. I live in Marysville, California. I would just like to say, you know, as a third or fourth generation Yuba County resident, I'm very disappointed that there isn't more backbone in the board. I don't know whether we've had 150 years or so of existence as a county, but how many times have we actually canceled a meeting when somebody got sick? I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so we have probably more than 80 people here that wanted to attend the meeting and watch the meeting, be present with you. And now we've got into the habit of creating these Zoom and technology situations where we just make excuses. Oh, somebody's sick. Oh, there's a technical glitch. You know, how did we survive as a county for nearly 200 years, 150, 160 years? And having meeting after meeting through controversy and emergencies and wars and floods, and we have meetings and people attend them. It's very disappointing. It seems like there's just a desire to avoid the general public. We need to stop the mandates. I know that legally you can't force businesses to do things, and I appreciate that. I am not into government forcing businesses to do this or that. You certainly can state a resolution or have a resolution saying, just like you would if you endorsed, you made an endorsement against racism. You can certainly say we are against vaccine passports. That's the least you can do. This is a violation of our constitutional rights, vaccine passports. We will take care of the businesses that want to be prejudicial against people that want to make their own choice. We can choose to boycott. We can choose to shop where we shop and have an impact in our own community and say, listen, if you want to force us to be vaccinated, big box store, we just won't shop there. So we can take care of that. What we need from you is to state on behalf of the entire county, if you want to remain our leaders, that you are not in favor of being prejudiced or picking one group over another. Like Courtney says, for Walmart to say this is Blonde Monday, only blondes get in on Monday, or only vaccinated people get in on Tuesday. That's ridiculous. We will take care of that. What we're asking you to do is take a stand and stop all this foolishness that if you haven't figured it out by now, I don't think there's hope for you about the foolishness of wearing a diaper around your face and standing on an X in Food Max. It's just crazy. Thank you for your time. I know there's a lot of other people who want to speak.
Thank you, Lou. Okay, next we'll go with Rebecca Carlson.
Good morning, this is Rebecca Carlson. I live in the foothills in Yuba County. I'm not gonna repeat what these other people said, except for the Nuremberg codes. You gentlemen think you're not gonna be held accountable. You think that you are not going to have accountability in this, and you're wrong. Over 3 months ago, I came in and said, vaccine passports are coming. What are you gonna do about it? I gave you a website that told you how you could approach the legislators in this county or in this state and put forth resolutions that would protect us. You didn't do it, and now we're here. Now we are here, and we are mad. And you know why we're mad? Because our rights are being taken away, and that's not America. I don't live in China. I don't live in North Korea. and you will be held accountable. Nuremberg trials are coming, and it's not going to be pretty. You will be held accountable for this. You may think I'm crazy. You may think I'm out of my mind. No, gentlemen, I'm just out of your mind. Good day.
Thank you, Ms. Carlson. Next up, can we have Ms. Courtwright?
Unmute. All right, hi. Well, I'm right on board with a lot of these other people. I am asking you to make a stand for vaccine passports on our behalf, because there are many people in this community. I think there's about 30% that at least that are not vaccinated, and there's a reason why. There's plenty of evidence out there, and some of the evidence that I'm looking at doesn't have to do specifically with the vaccines. I'm looking at doing some research on the CDC. You know, they have to be transparent to some degree, but think we're so stupid we can't figure it out. So I'm looking at documentation released by the CDC that shows that the PCR test that they're basing all of these statistics on, the PCR test, here, let me show you a document I have here on me. This is from the CDC website. And I don't know if you can see all of these illnesses that are included in the PCR test, but let me read some of them to you. The coronavirus, and then they have several different strains, along with SARS, biovirus, myoplasma pneumoniae, streptococcus, influenza A, and another number, influenza B, the human adenovirus type 1, respiratory RSV is rhinovirus, parainfluenza 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are all coming up positive on our PCR test, and they're calling it COVID. I know several people who have been treated in medical facilities who did not have the common symptoms of COVID. Did you ever hear at the beginning of this whole thing, oh, it presents with everybody different? Well, that's why. They are treating everything as COVID. It is not all COVID. It is every common cold and every severe influenza out there being called COVID. And they do not have a specific test for COVID. It's not even listed on this list of illnesses. So we are basing all of these stats that we are terrifying our communities with on something that is not even accurate. And you are believing it and shutting down our meetings and not allowing us in to speak to you in person because of this erroneous information being provided to you by our own government, by the CDC. And if you want to choose to believe the CDC over the obvious stuff that they're printing right on their page, they're putting the real information out there for us to find because they have to, but then they paint over it and call it what it's not. You need to pay attention because you will be held responsible. They have the vaccine companies covered. They won't be charged with any adverse effect. They won't be charged, but you can be, and we will take you to court and we will sue you under the Nuremberg Code, under everything that we can find. We are digging and we are digging deep, and we will not stop until this stops. And Yuba County has the ability to make a stand, and I suggest you gentlemen stand up for us now. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Okay, next up, Ms. Douglas.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Let me start with, there might only be 80 people outside this building, that there's many more that wish they could be here, but they're at work. And because of this forced vaccine, they're going to be out of work, and our workforce is going to be dropping quickly if we don't stop this. You say it's a choice, but then you say we're going to take away your jobs. We're going to take away your right to go grocery shopping. We're going to take away your right for your children to go to school. That's not a choice. That's forcing you. That's taking away people's livelihoods, and it's not right, and it has to stop. We can't keep with these masks made of cloth. That doesn't stop anything. That's just showing that they're going with the flow and trying to get along. That's not stopping the virus. We know that. You've come out and told us the masks don't work, but then you call us conspiracy theorists. You tell us that the jab is safe, but yet when we do our own research and find the jab isn't safe, you say we're conspiracy theorists. It's not right, and it has to stop, and we can't let it come into our counties. We're going to lose our workforce in numbers to other states where we can actually fight and be heard. We can't do this to our children. the death rates and suicide rates of our children has increased drastically, and it's just awful. You've wiped our VEER system to hide the truth of the vaccine and its safety. The FDA has approved this without the full investigation it should have done. It's wrong to see in our state. We're not in China, and we shouldn't walk around with papers in our pockets. You might as well put a tattoo on our wrist. We shouldn't be separating our schools and our grocery stores. Are we going back in time? Are we going to look at history and see that this never worked and it's not going to work? We need to come together and we need to be one. We need to be united. That's what we are, the United States of America. And California is the leading of all these ridiculous calls for government overreach. And we're here and we're not going to be stopped. And you're going to hear us when we say you are not putting that poison in our bodies. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. Next up will be Ms. Tade.
Hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you for letting me speak today. I just want to say forcing a medical experiment upon an individual as a condition to participate in society is illegal, it's unlawful, and immoral and reprehensible, and it is a violation of our God-given natural and common law rights as expressed and confirmed in the American Declaration of Independence and is reflected in the Constitution of this state and the Constitution of the United States. It doesn't matter whether it works or not. It doesn't matter whether this vaccine is even real or not. What matters is that each individual has sovereignty and authority over their own body. This so-called vaccine can never be required as a condition for commerce. There are many laws that protect individuals from excess power of government tyrants. On the US FDA website, it notes recipients must be informed and that they have the option to accept or refuse the vaccine. Forced vaccination violates the right to privacy, which is protected, secured, and guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment of the US and the Constitution of this state. Forced vaccination is unlawful discrimination. California Government Code 51 protects free and equal access to all public accommodations. California Government Code 12926 protects one's religious liberty and practice, including the ability to not participate in practices that violate one's sincerely held religious beliefs. Code 37100 prevents any creation, application, or enforcement of law or policy that violates the California Constitution or the Constitution of the United States. Code 24171 and 24172 declare that individuals have the right to determine what is done to their own body and refuse to consent to medical experimentation without duress, coercion, or influence. No business or organization, including any governmental agency, has the authority to force me or anyone else to take any and all COVID-19 vaccines as well as any other vaccine. No business or organization, including any governmental agency, has the authority to deny me and anybody else any services that are provided to COVID-19 vaccinated individuals. Denial of such services, it will be a violation of our God-given natural common law, state and federal constitutional and international rights not to be vaccinated in any way or form without our consent. This includes our right to be tracked based on our vaccination status. And any such government agency, business, or organization, persons acting as offices of such entities, man and or woman, violating our right not to vaccinate against COVID-19 will be liable under tort law and for deprivation
Ms.
of
Tate,
law.
Please, your 3 minutes is up. Please finish up with a sentence or so.
In short, we need you to stand for us, for our rights, for our legal rights, for our God-given rights. We need you to do your job and stand for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Mr. Derrico.
Hey, this is not, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is not Brian Derrico. My name's Andrew Dehart. I live in Yuba City, California. And I just want to state a few things regarding the constitutional limitations that impact the authority of the health officer. But these limitations also fall upon you guys. It said the California Constitution provides that life, liberty, or property shall not be deprived without due process. It protects us from excessive government intrusion. It says the orders of the health officers and anything you guys agree with shall not be arbitrary, oppressive, or unreasonable. And I believe being forced into a corner and being told, essentially being oppressed to either take the vaccine or not be able to provide for my family, be able to exercise and get food from a grocery store, that directly affects the constitutional, integrity for me, and I believe all 80 to 100 people outside of your building right now. So just want to let you know and inform you with your responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Myers?
Am I on?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hi, I must say, this is not actually Claire Myers. That's my daughter. She was on Zoom before, so we still have it on the computer. I am Andrea Myers. I'm her mom, and she's an 11-year-old. I have 3 kids. I'm a registered nurse from the state of California, but I'm a stay-at-home mom right now, and I'm homeschooling my kids. So I wanted to point out a couple of things. I went through nursing training, and one of the things that I was taught in nursing training was that you never give a drug without the consent of the patient. That was a patient right. So if this is a vaccine, which I doubt it is, that I'm not going to give my children, that's my choice for me and my children and my family. It goes against every medical ethic in the medical community to go against the patient right, bottom line, on the vaccine. The other thing too, with this whole mask thing, no one's talking about this masking as much as they should be, because it's violating our right to breathe oxygen that our brains need. Otherwise, they'll be deprived of oxygen and our CO2 levels will increase. That's the other thing. I'm not going to slap my kid in a mask and send them to school for 8 hours a day to do that. That's why I chose to homeschool my kids. So those are the couple of things I wanted to say. The other thing too is, since when do we bully and harass people to take something that they shouldn't have to take or they don't want to take? That's not okay either. That's harassment. No one's talking about that. So those are the things that I wanted to say. What are the side effects of this? What's in this vaccine that they're wanting to push and mandate and force people to take? And these stay-at-home moms, these single parent moms trying to put food on the table have to take this vaccine because they're being bullied to take it. Is that okay? There's something really wrong with that, don't you think? I think there is. I really do. And I think it's good for each one of you to sit and think about what you're doing and the decisions that you're making. Because when it comes down to it, it's not just us as the people. You will stand before a holy, righteous God and report to him someday. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Myers. So just real quickly want to mention we have gone over the 15-minute time limit for public comment. I will allow everyone who currently has their hand up the opportunity to speak, but we will be cutting it off after that. So Mr. Sullivan.
Unmute. Hello, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would just like to say, as family survivors of the COVID 20 months ago and of the Delta variant, which I think is just a mutation from the people that are getting vaccinated, I was right there in that Marysville rideout and almost died last month. and my wife was also hospitalized. I'll tell you right now, if I had to do it all over again, I would not get the vaccination. I'd go by the Marty McClare report from John Hopkins that says the doctors are ignoring the natural immunity, the God-given immunity that we have, which is 19 months on this disease versus the 6 to 9 months. I feel that the big rush to get people vaccinated is because the masses got vaccinated in April, and they're going to start dying off in the masses between October and January. And they're ignoring this. This is totalitarianism, and the elites are trying to control us. And to add to that, we got open borders with all kinds of diseases coming across the border, including COVID, unregulated, unchecked, from a totalitarian president and a totalitarian governor. I say this through the New California movement. I hope people are listening right now. If they haven't heard of New California, jump on, because we are a constitutional movement. Okay, and I just want to say that this is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and the mass and the vaccines and the tests are a huge discrimination and civil rights issue. And you can Google what promotes mold, and you'll find on a simple Google search, because I'm a 30-year water damage tech, that masks will promote mold. Moisture, nutrient, and oxygen is all you need to promote mold. So people are getting respiratory infections, and they did a study, people that wore masks all day, and their number was 88. Well, in the hospital, they give you oxygen at 90. So I believe that it's unconscionable, unconstitutional, genocidal. It's a violation of the Nuremberg Code, and it's ordered through the Democrat Party that are taking orders from communist China. The citizens of this America, they deserve better than this. And I just want to say one more thing. As a serviceman in the Bay Area and here, and been over 30,000 homes, the reason why we're in the trouble we are in today is because of the closet Republicans that don't open their mouth. But let me tell you something, I've been in their homes and worked for them. They're storing lots and lots of guns and ammo, and I'm just the messenger. And you guys are sitting on a ticking time bomb because they're still quiet today. That's all they're waiting for, is this whole thing to bust loose. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Next up, Mr. Armstrong.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have bad connection where I'm working. So I like to thank Randy first off for sending me the link to the Zoom, because I contacted your guys' office and I never got a response. And it seems like we got a lot of people that understand their Constitution as far as their rights and everything. And I appreciate everybody on there speaking out. And I want to make sure everybody realizes we are a republic, not a democracy. We are living in a democracy under totalitarian, under Gavin Newsom, and the monoparty system that we have down at our state capitol. We do not have a bicameralism anymore. And you guys as supervisors are still sovereign because you're elected by the people. Same thing with our sheriff. And that is the nice thing about our republic as the United States that granted us, that if a state goes rogue, like California has currently gone rogue, and enforcing these mandates, you guys have the ability and the constitutional standing to stand up to the tyrant and tell them no. Now, if the state is holding financial stuff over your head, get that out of your guys' head. We're not going to get it because the state is broke. You're seeing that with the state funding not going to the schools, and they're using this COVID virus as a fear-mongering tactic to not open schools so that they can save the money that would cost this open schools, that they can keep the state afloat for maybe another 6 months at most, at best, if we're lucky. So I appreciate everyone getting on here and voicing their concerns, because these vaccines are killing people. There's a lawsuit going right down in I think the Ninth Circuit Court that's about ready to hit, that they're showing that one of the reporting systems of the federal government showed that with like 45,000 people died within 3 or 4 days of taking these different vaccines. So I really want you guys to really sit there and think about what you guys are going to do if you guys are pressured to pass a vaccine passport, not to do it, because you will be held accountable by the people of this great state and this great county and the people of America to basically live the freedom that we are granted by God through our Constitution. And we need everybody to pull up their bootstraps and get back to work and live the freedom and liberties that we have in this country and say no to the governor. Okay. And we need to also have people questioning these people that are making these mandates. Look at their background, look at where they went to school, look at everything. We have to stand our ground and we have to fight for our country, because we're in the middle of getting ready to see our country fall if we don't. California goes, the rest of the nation goes. And I really hope you guys take this to heart and listen, because we need to stop these vaccine mandates, because where I currently work, they're talking, oh, well, it's a mandate. We're going to redo our policies and you're going to basically have to get vaccinated. I don't believe, is that the buzzer?
Yes, please, Mr. Armstrong.
Okay. So my faith and rights are being violated by the fact that they are discussing about losing your job over something that's not even it's not even certified. If you read the FDA document carefully,
Mr. Armstrong.
I'm finishing up real quick for you. The FDA document that they submitted does not state that they approved that. It's gone under, they've approved it to go into testing to be approved. So thank you and have a good day, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Greg Thompson. I've been a member of the community for about 30 years. I work in Yuba City. My youngest two children are 14 and 16 years old. One of the side effects that's admitted to is myocarditis, inflammation of the heart, that causes scar tissue in the heart. That's a permanent, lifelong damage. Over my dead body, will anybody give my children an experimental vaccine that's illegitimately approved yesterday by an FDA that's run amok? I want to thank everyone for your service to our community, for all our health workers. And I've not been active as I should be in civic matters. And I think all of us need to take a more active role. And I thank all you supervisors for the work you do. Please adopt a resolution to stop the madness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Genesis, good morning.
Good morning, Supervisor Bradford. I want to echo everything that's been said today. I think you've heard a lot. And one thing I want to bring is, what do you want to be remembered for? You are in an opportunity, you have an opportunity now, you are in a position to take a stand for something that is being called for from your constituents, from those who live in this community. And we are asking for you to stand with us. And whether or not, whatever legal counsel is telling you, whatever anyone is telling you about it, that it's not going to work, or that it's not going to be effective, or that's going to affect funding, or, I mean, what do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for going along with something like this that is happening, these mandates that are coming around from government and from businesses, and taking away people's choice? What do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for taking a stand and being the first county in the state to take a stand on paper with a resolution, backing the people? Whether or not it does anything, like Lou said, we will take care of the rest of it. We'll take care of the groundwork, but let us know that you're with us. I'm asking you to be bold. Please pass the resolution. Please bring the resolution to the table on the next agenda, and let's have it. Let's have a discussion about it, and let's be bold, please. And thank you.
Thank you, Genesis. Finally, we'll hear from Bon.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Bonnie Hughes. I just wanted to just be in unison with all the ones that are outside the government building and the ones that have not been able to come before you yet, to speak to you, the elected representatives of our community. of the atrocity that's happening right now in our own community and to beg you to stand against it. This vaccine passport we've been talking about is here. This last weekend, I stood with our healthcare workers on the street in front of the hospital at Rideout Adventist Health as they protested the tyranny happening in their jobs. They are, as you know, which I'm sure you know, they're required to get the experimental COVID gene modification injection, erroneously called the COVID-19 vaccination, by a certain date or lose their jobs. Not only them, but anyone working inside the hospital, outside contractors, and I've heard even mothers coming in to deliver their babies are required to have the shot. The very people that we hailed as heroes a year ago are now being forced to take experimental foreign substance into their bodies to continue working in their jobs of helping the sick in our community. I know many around me in our community and family members that are facing the same. Get the shot or lose your job. This is not how America works. This is not how America became the greatest country on earth. This tears apart everything our Constitution and Bill of Rights stand for. Freedom to choose, especially freedom on our person. I do not recognize our country or our community. You are a representative this time in history, and you have an opportunity to return our community to our heritage of freedom. Will you? America is great because it is good. When it ceases to be good to our own people, it will cease to be great. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Okay, I want to thank everyone who participated in public comment. We truly do appreciate hearing from you. I also want to appreciate that people were able to pretty much stick within their 3 minutes. Just a quick reminder that the next meeting we're having will be on Zoom as well, and that is because of the recall election. We'll be in the board chambers, and so that's why we'll need to meet remotely. And after that, I know we hope to be back in person. So, okay. So with that, we will move on to county departments, and we're actually going to start with the item that was pulled from consent, item 409, 2021, which is Sheriff Coroner approved the second of 2 one-year extensions to the agreement with the California Forensic Medical Group Incorporated for inmate medical and mental health services, and authorized chair to execute.
Okay, I know we're running a little short on time. I'll try to make this very quick, but this agreement is with the California Forensic Medical Group for inmate medical and mental health services. It's based on a certain population. I think the total is around 430. I guess my question is, how many actual inmates do have direct contact with this group? And is that part of the contract maybe a little too high? And because it runs about $1,000 per inmate per month, I think, based on that population estimate. So I'm not sure how this actually works. Are these people being treated at the jail? So if somebody could just give me a little clarification on that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Sheriff Anderson. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, hi. So to fully cover this, I think we need to go back a few years, back to 2017, to the consent decree, which Yuba County Jail is facing and is under. And we were required in that consent decree to provide 24/7 healthcare, mental health care, and to have a certain number of staffing in the jail, which includes a doctor, physician assistants, an RN, an LVN, 24/7. So, you know, to answer your question regarding do they receive treatment in-house, they do receive treatment in-house. There are requirements per the consent decree that we have to provide, and I understand it's very costly, and but unfortunately it's something that we have been burdened with, and we have to comply with to maintain the terms of the consent decree. As far as the staffing levels, we have had those discussions, but I don't believe that even there's a difference. I don't believe there's a difference in staffing with our WellPath or CFMG staff. If there are 200 people in our jail or 485, we still have to have that staffing, those staffing levels there per the consent decree. I don't know if that answers all of your questions, but you know, we are required by law to have the level of staffing that we have. or by the consent decree.
Okay. I kind of assumed that was the direction we were forced to go, but I just wanted to clarify it. So thank you.
If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them in this forum or elsewhere.
Okay. Well, it is a lot of money, so it just kind of sticks out.
It does. It sticks out to me as well, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Supervisor Fletcher and a second from Supervisor Vasquez. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer, Supervisor Blazer,
Yeah, I'm still here. Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Now we will move on to item 421, 2021, Community Development and Services, adopt resolution extending the abandoned vehicle abatement program for a period of 10 years.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Jeremy Strang with Code Enforcement. Yeah, as you said, the item before your board today is a resolution that will extend the abandoned vehicle abatement program for an additional 10 years. If adopted, the Department of Motor Vehicles will continue to collect a $1 and a $2 fee that's placed on motor vehicle registration. And those fees are provided to jurisdictions as revenues so that abandoned, wrecked, and dismantled vehicles can be removed from both public and private property. These fees and revenues do also go to the cities of Marysville and Wheatland. As stated in my staff report, this local program was established back in 1991 for the local agency and has been extended a few times. In previous 10-year cycle, the county itself has abated more than 700 vehicles and has brought in nearly $300,000. So today, again, I am recommending that your board adopt the attached resolution extending the abandoned vehicle abatement program until year 2032. And I would also state that both the city of Marysville and the city of Wheatland have similar resolutions pending before their respective boards and councils.
I'll move to approve. Enthusiastically. Great job, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what would the alternative be if we didn't approve this? We would not have the money and the money would just go back to the state?
If this resolution was not adopted, the state would no longer impose the $1 and $2 fee on the registration. Therefore, there would be no money collected for the removal of these vehicles. The outcome, I don't know what that would be. It would probably go back to CHP for primary enforcement of this. And again, I don't know what that would result in. Certainly what we have now is a fairly quick process for the removal of these types of vehicles.
It's sorely needed in most neighborhoods, that's for sure.
And so we're spending about $300 per vehicle through this program and hauling them away?
It depends. It depends on a few factors. It can depend on location. It can depend on vehicle size. So for instance, recreational vehicles, boats, things of that nature, they cost a lot more to remove than would a car. And so, and then distance traveled. So in some instances, we also have to store vehicles for 10 days by law. So these costs cover not only the physical towing of the vehicle, but it covers storage, and it also covers staff time. Not fully, it's not a full funded program, meaning we don't always break even. Oftentimes, once you factor in staff time, the county and the cities are spending more or can spend more than what's actually collected.
Okay, I had a first from Supervisor Vasquez and I believe a second from Supervisor Fletcher. So is there any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I will ask for a roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is item 420, Community Development and Services. Receive update on efforts to revise chapters 8.20 noise regulations, 8.70 outdoor music festivals, 8.79 Hammond Grove Park and Sycamore Ranch, and Title 13 of the County Ordinance Code.
Good morning, Chairman Bradford, members of the board. Can you hear me?
Morning. Yes, we can.
Great. My name is Daniel Peterson. I'm the Director of Public Works, and I'd like to take this opportunity to discuss with the board staff efforts to update chapters 8.20, which is noise regulations, 8.70 outdoor music festivals, 8.79, which is specific to Hammond Grove Park and Sycamore Ranch, and Title 13 of the County Ordinance Code. The impetus behind the updating of these chapters of the Ordinance Code was the recent 3-day festival that was held at Sycamore Ranch. It became obvious when we went through that process that these 3 chapters of the Ordinance Code are inadequate for a large event, and they aren't consistent between each other in terms of notifications, appeals, and enforcement. So staff is looking at all 3 of these at the same time to make them consistent, such as when are the applications due, i.e. how many days prior to the event do they have to be submitted? Do the applications provide sufficient time for notifications and appeals? At this time, not all of them do. Are the fees appropriate? How do we enforce the provisions of a permit? Who should enforce the provisions of the permit? And are the notification requirements that are currently in these ordinances sufficient? Staff is anticipating hosting a public workshop to collect public comment and to share information about what we're looking at. But as of this time, we're still a month or 2 away before we even start scheduling such a workshop. The reason for bringing this up before the board right now is that staff has received an application for a permit for a future large-scale event at Sycamore Ranch and Hammond Grove Park. Due to the size of this event, the promoter needs some type of a commitment from the county by mid-September so they can do all the logistical work, organizing, getting the entertainment booked, advertising, everything else. So staff at this point has no choice but to evaluate and process this application based on the existing ordinances. We do have the ability to condition the permits should we issue one, but this is something that due to what we went through with the last large event, we felt that we would like some board direction. If there is any preference or advice that the board would like to give staff regarding this pending application and any other applications we may receive before these ordinances are actually updated.
Through the chair, is there a penalty clause you can put in there that should they violate the ordinance, that there's a 2-year or a 3-year gap between the time they can apply again?
I would
like to see something with some teeth in it. So if they violate the ordinance to a degree that that requires a response from the sheriff, that you can't come back for at least 2 to 3 years.
I believe we already have that right, because one of the criterion.
I would like this spelled out in no uncertain terms so that they don't have any wiggle room.
Very well. I will work with county council and get that in there.
Okay, thank you.
I do believe it's important, at least from my perspective, that that be discretionary, though. I worry about a ban based on something happening without discretion. So just my opinion on that.
Yeah, everybody's got 2 ears and 4 excuses. So we're a nation right now that is a little too lax.
Through the chair. So I think if we're going to have another festival, you're absolutely right that they're going to need to know within the next couple of weeks if they're going to plan another similar festival. One possible solution you might consider is hours of operation. I mean, you could say that, all right, there could be noise from 6 a.m. to midnight or something like that. And there'd be a period of time where there would be none. See how that goes.
And to the chair, not to get into too many specifics on this, but this, once again, it actually is the next UNTS festival. And a big part of the UNTS festival is that they do go until sunrise. So it would be something that we could address as to, and once again, I'm asking for the board's opinion, we could limit the after hours between midnight and sunrise music to the lower or the smaller pavilion that only projects sound out over the river. And we could also limit the decibel levels that would be permitted.
Through the chair, prior experience with any organization would determine whether we issue the permit or not. Should enter into it, because I've never seen a festival that big, that quiet, and that well organized. And I think we ought to encourage good management to our events.
So through the chair, let me grasp a little bit of this, Dan, that at this point, we can't actually come up with terms because we haven't seen them and we haven't voted on those. So until we get to the point of actually voting, we can give you suggestions, and those suggestions may be transmitted to the supporter of the event, this one or others, that there will be some modifications, and maybe those modifications might impact some of their hours, and we can certainly allow them out of the contract if they can't meet whatever those hours are or other regulations. I guess what I heard from that whole operation, there were major concerns that never came to fruition. All of the issues that I heard were very less impactful than started out. That's not to say there wasn't some impact. And I think that's what you're talking about, is having a public meeting to listen to some of those issues, put that in a written form, and then create whatever objections or whatever our policies will be moving forward. But they would like to make a decision relatively soon. I guess the only thing that I would encourage that they understand, if there are major changes to our existing policy, that they may be held to some of those issues. We don't even know what they are at the moment. So the encouragement I would have for them is certainly apply. But if there are major changes, we may hold them accountable for that, but it may take months to get to that point after we've gone through a hearing, heard from the public, done the hearing, and passed our regulations. So feedback from me is I would move forward on this, waiting for the public to actually give us some feedback. Something in writing now comes back to the board, and we have the opportunity to make some modifications.
So you're probably going to get 5 slightly different opinions on this, I'm sure. Hopefully there'll be some commonality that you can take away from all of them. I would just say I completely agree. We can't wait until we get these ordinances updated in order to approve or deny the permit. I think with this particular organization, the last event went much better than maybe anticipated by many in the community. And I think there were many positive things that came out of it. I would say the county did a great job being involved in the event, collecting data from the event. We've seen a presentation on that. I think county staff is well prepared to take the existing ordinances and apply appropriate conditions based on what we saw or didn't see the last time, and then approve it moving forward based on that. So certainly I wouldn't disagree with Randy Fletcher that we would want the organizer to certainly consider changes we make to the ordinances once those occur. Whether or not they'd be able to be bound to those, I think is a difficult thing to foresee. But I know in the spirit of partnership, we would certainly want to try to work through those if there are changes. So anyway, just my 2 cents. I don't know if any of the other board members also have something to share. Okay. With that, this is not an action item. You were just looking for board input. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So with that, we will move on to ordinances and public hearings. And so if you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. And we'll start with item 422, 2021, Agricultural Commissioner. Ordinance, hold public hearing, waive first reading, and introduce ordinance amending section 7.42.700 of chapter 7.42 of the Yuba County Ordinance Code, prohibiting the cultivation of industrial hemp within the unincorporated area of Yuba County. And I will open the public hearing, and then Ag Commissioner Scheer. Good morning.
You hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, great. So good morning, Chairman Bradford, honorable board members, Stephen Scheer, Ag Commissioner. So the proposed ordinance would extend the moratorium on industrial hemp cultivation in the unincorporated area of the county until August 31st of next year, 2022. Our current moratorium sunsets this month on the 31st, and if not amended, would allow the cultivation of industrial hemp in Yuba County. Pretty much anywhere anybody would want to grow it, near a school or a sensitive site or something like that. So our moratorium was placed on the cultivation of industrial hemp because state and federal regulations were not yet in place to regulate it. According to the federal rule, California must have a federally approved industrial hemp plan in place before cultivation can begin. California still does not have an approved plan in place, and the regulations are constantly changing due to legislation and the emergency rulemaking process. So due to these factors, we still do not have regulatory certainty on how we are going to regulate industrial hemp in our counties. It's changing all the time. So extending the moratorium allows for time for the pending regulations to take effect and allows staff time to address regulatory hurdles, public safety and workload, and land use issues. And it would be my intent to readdress this moratorium with the board this winter and see what direction the board would like to go with that once the regulations are more solid. And at this point, I would answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board?
Just to confirm a couple of facts that you said in your presentation a couple of weeks ago, Sutter County lost money on this endeavor, and we've had almost no applicants looking to do this in Yuba County. Those are both accurate?
Yes, I believe the numbers, they spent roughly $113,000 that was unreimbursed out of their general fund. And that I believe that was the 1920 fiscal year. And we've received one email that I can recall regarding the status of hemp production in Yuba County this year. So the profitability of industrial hemp has come into question over the last couple of years, and with that, the interest within the county has waned quite a bit to almost not getting any calls about it. I spent a lot of time on the phone 2 years ago. multiple calls weekly, but now we're not seeing that kind of interest.
Okay, with that response, I'd like to waive the first reading and introduce the ordinance amending section 742.700 of chapters 7.42 of the Yuba County Ordinance Code.
Which is a moratorium till August of 22.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a first from Supervisor Vasquez, a second from Supervisor Fletcher. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and call for a roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll move on to item 352, 2021, Community Development and Services, public hearing, hold public hearing and adopt resolution to vacate a public road over Hoffman Road, road number 417. I will open the public hearing and Dan, is this you again?
Yes, it is. Good morning, Chairman Bradford, members of the board, Dan Peterson, Director of Public Works. Very quickly, we were approached by the property owners along Hoffman Road who requested that the county vacate the road so that they could put in a gate to prevent vandalism, trespassing, poaching, etc. They've had a severe problem with people dumping trash and debris on their property. We reached out to all the affected agencies. We received concurrence. We've posted the vacation and our intent to vacate the roadway, both in the newspaper and physically on signs out along Hoffman Road. So at this point, we are ready to bring it to the board and request the board action.
Great, thank you. Any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, any board comment?
I have just a quick question. What happens when you vacate the road? Who maintains it? Whose road is it?
It becomes a private road, so the property owners who use that road for access to their properties are responsible for maintaining the roadway.
Okay, so there's more than one property owner, so they must just share the expense, I guess.
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
Okay, I have a first from Supervisor Vasquez, a second from Supervisor Fletcher. I will close the public hearing, thank staff for their effort on this and ask for a roll call vote.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is item 419, 2021, Health and Human Services Ordinance. Hold public hearing, waive first reading and introduce ordinance pertaining to joining Partnership Health Plan of California Commission, which is a multi-county commission that has created and managed a healthcare plan for Medi-Cal recipients. I will open the public hearing. And Jen Vasquez, are you going to be the one speaking to us?
Good morning. Actually, Megan Marshall has a presentation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Available if there's questions. Thank you, Supervisor Bradford.
Morning, Megan.
Good morning, supervisors. Give me just a second. And before we proceed, there is a correction for the subject of this particular item. We intend to return to the board for a second reading. We are aware that the subject line reads waive first reading. If the clerk of the board has any direction for us on how we might resolve that.
Yes, just go ahead and resubmit the correct information and we'll make sure it's updated.
Great, thank you so much. Good morning, Chair, members of the board, fellow staff and community members. My name is Megan Marshall, your Yuba County Health and Human Services Deputy Director for Public Health. I'm honored to be before you on behalf of my department and our Medi-Cal beneficiaries for the first reading of a proposed ordinance enacting the Partnership Health Plan of California Commission for Yuba County. In early 2021, the State Department of Healthcare Services released instructions for counties interested in changing Medi-Cal managed care models. The first requirement for counties interested in transitioning models was to submit a letter of intent. On April 13th, 2021, this Board of Supervisors approved a letter of intent to transition from a regional model of managed care to a county organized health system model of managed care. The second requirement for counties interested in transitioning is to adopt and submit a local ordinance. This is our first of 2 readings of our proposed ordinance to meet the state mandate before October 10th, 2021. What is Medi-Cal? What it is California's Medicaid health program based on entitlement, based on income and disability or disability status. It's supported by federal and state funding. What it is not is Obamacare or Covered California, private insurance, or supported by any county funding. Medi-Cal funding is administered by the State Department of Healthcare Services to plans on behalf of counties. Who those plans are depends on the managed care model DHCS has authorized the county to operate within. In summary, Medi-Cal is an essential safety net for our community's most vulnerable children and adults who would otherwise go without health care. We are aware that you've been told by very compelling representatives from at least one of our existing plans that you have 3 options to consider. As of 5 p.m. yesterday evening, DHCS executives, including a deputy director and chief deputy director, reiterated for a second time, we in fact only have 2 options. One option is to remain in the 2-plan model, which is our current. There are 10 counties that we'll discuss a bit down the road in the presentation in the region who are recommending to transition to a county organized health system model. The existing model has a history of delivering inadequate service based on a 2019 audit, findings in recent beneficiary feedback. New providers will be selected by the state via an RFP process, and there is no guarantee that existing providers would continue, even if we decided to remain in this existing model. The governance structure for this model does not include input or participation at the county level. The second option is to proceed with adopting an ordinance that would allow for us to incorporate into a county organized health system model. Existing partnership counties are electing to continue in the existing model. Oops, sorry, gentlemen. That was a sneak peek of future information. Counties participate in the selection. There we go again. I gotta stop touching the mouse there. Counties will participate in the selection and have input in the contract development. And county representation would include a partnership board of commissioners, which would be appointed by the board of supervisors. It also includes beneficiary representation and a consumer advisory committee. It is important to note here that Yuba County did not have a say in participating in our current managed care model. The state made that decision on our behalf. This is your first opportunity to assume an active and decisive role in what we believe our Yuba County Medi-Cal beneficiaries deserve. And I can tell you, gentlemen, based on our recent survey of beneficiaries and the state audit report of 2019, it is more than they've been receiving in our existing plans. In 2018, Senator Jim Nielsen's request for the audit of DHCS's oversight of managed care in the 18 counties assigned to the regional model was approved by the legislative committee. In 2019, the state auditor released a report titled Department of Healthcare Services. It has not ensured that Medi-Cal beneficiaries in some rural counties have reasonable access to care. The report found a number of shortcomings in the provision of services in rural communities, including that of Yuba County. The report concluded with a strong recommendation that the counties be allowed to transition to a coast model of care. How do the Medi-Cal beneficiaries feel? There are approximately 28,659 managed care beneficiaries in Yuba County. Roughly 35% of those are assigned to California Health and Wellness and 65% assigned to Anthem. To ensure the voice of our beneficiaries was heard during this process, your Yuba County Health and Human Services Agency surveyed beneficiaries. That included 47 general Medi-Cal beneficiaries and 23 CCS Medi-Cal beneficiaries. For context, CCS is California Children's Services and provides an array of supportive services, including medical case management and therapy for children with extensive chronic and acute medical conditions that impact the quality of their lives. Because of the level of need, these families engage more frequently with their health plans, and in particular around accessing specialty care and transportation. Among the key findings in the survey, CCS families were 10 times more likely to engage with their plan often, and very often when compared to general beneficiaries. CCS families were 4 times more likely to rate their plan as the worst plan possible than general beneficiaries. And lastly, CCS families were 20 times more likely to say their plan never treated them with courtesy or respect when contacting their customer service for support. Why is the COAST model better? The 2019 state audit report found that in many cases, providers in the regional model only contracted with one Medi-Cal commercial plan, not both, leading to Medi-Cal patients having to change their health plans often just to get adequate care. An example of that is a pregnant woman in our community whose primary care provider, so the person responsible for her general health care, accepted one plan while her OBGYN accepted another plan. So in lieu of having to go out of county for critical prenatal care, she opted to change her health plan just so that she could receive that critical service from the OBGYN. The COAST model with partnership would likely provide benefits, and this is a direct quote, I should say, from the 2019 state audit, would likely provide the beneficiaries with access to a greater proportion of Medi-Cal providers in their geographical areas, thereby reducing the distances that beneficiaries would need to travel to receive care per the 2019 state audit. And this was a situation that I'd like to share with you that I personally addressed this past Friday. We had a family that is in our CCS program who was very upset that the child was denied a particular piece of equipment that would assist him in managing and better caring for his type 1 diabetes, which is juvenile onset. So out of the kiddo's control that he has this particular disease. And the notes detailed numerous missed appointments with the endocrinologist. When I brought this to the mother's attention, she highlighted the fact that the endocrinologist, the only one available to her under this plan, was in South Sacramento. So not Midtown, not downtown, but in South Sacramento. So nearly to Galt. She does not have her own transportation, and in the instances where she tried to arrange for transportation with her plan, transportation was confirmed and never arrived. So as a result, she's being, I would say, threatened with Child Protective Services reports by her healthcare providers because they don't understand the complexities these families face and the challenges that they face in acquiring and accessing specialty care that is detrimental to the ongoing wellness of these beneficiaries. The COAST model allows for the greatest amount of local authority and quality for beneficiaries. As previously stated, we currently have no say in how our plans administer services and how those dollars at the end of the year can be invested into our community. And under the COAST model, we would have that representation. Attesting to their belief in this model through letters of support are Senator Nielsen, Assemblyman Gallagher, our local First Five, and our local Center for Independent Living, Freed. These supporters are unique in that they too serve and advocate on behalf of our beneficiary population, but do not have a financial interest in the managed care model you will ultimately choose. And we will be sure to include those letters of support in our September 14th packet. What experience and capacity does Partnership have? Partnership Health Plan started in Solano County in 1994 and has expanded, successfully expanded, I should say, 5 times since then. And you can see here the counties and the years that they decided to join Partnership. All 14 of these current counties with Partnership appreciate their presence in their counties, and none of the counties to date have requested to leave Partnership. Every time Partnership has been approached with expansion, a full financial analysis is conducted to ensure that all current programs and benefits can be expanded to the potential new counties without adversely impacting the same programs and benefits in the existing counties. What happens to existing providers? Through the Medi-Cal health plans, though the Medi-Cal health plans would change if this ordinance is adopted on September 14th, the medical clinics and providers and our hospital would stay the same. Health plans do not build brick and mortar. Those are our providers that facilitate the physical care and the locations where that care takes place. As a nonprofit health plan, Partnership has a long track record of investing back into the community through various grants for activities such as substance use disorder and housing stability program offerings. The change to Partnership requires no county level funding And Partnerships Commission, again, is comprised of local leaders appointed by each county's Board of Supervisors. At its core of service is the community in which it exists, and truly adopt a different flavor, I would say, in each one of the communities. Not one community does partnership the same, not one benefits from partnership the same. What other counties are involved? The 10 counties working to transition to the coast model with Partnership Health are Butte County, Colusa, Glenn, Nevada, Placer, Plumas, Sierra, Sutter, Tehama, and of course, Yuba County. And you can see here those of us who have agendized items. Sutter and Butte County also going to the board today. Nevada County had their first reading and the ordinance was adopted on August 10th. If other counties move to a different plan, such as partnership, and Yuba County does not, we will be at an extreme geographical disadvantage, which could impact the availability of contracted providers. The ordinance, what does it say and why? I will first highlight some of the items on the ordinance to bring to your attention. First and foremost, it authorizes Yuba County to join the existing commission, which currently is comprised of existing counties. Effective upon written approval from Department of Healthcare Services and a formal agreement with DHCS and Partnership Health, meaning that there are still contract negotiations to be had in the event that this ordinance is adopted on September 14th. And we would expect to hear from the state on their decision to allow for us to continue with this transition early to mid 2022. And again, highlighting the fact that Yuba County members to this commission would be appointed by you Board of Supervisors. So this ordinance is required to be submitted to in completion and adoption to DHCS no later than October 10th. They have extended that deadline from October 1st. And so we're very happy to have that. And again, DHCS will review and approve counties to transition early to mid 2022, allowing us ample time to negotiate terms and conditions of our proposed work with partnership. So what happens next? Between now and September 14th, when we intend to return to the board for action, we will continue to engage community stakeholders and Medi-Cal beneficiaries in the transition conversation. Our intent is to return to the board for the second and final reading and request action on September 14th. Potential outcomes include, there are two. If approved, ongoing negotiations with Partnership Health would continue so that we can begin the discussions of provider network establishment and an ongoing discussion regarding the specifics of local governance, stressing the importance of county and local medical providers' involvement. And so again, we would look to the board for your leadership on that particular item. If the ordinance is ultimately rejected, Sutter County is likely to information that we've received, they are likely to adopt their ordinance today. And bi-county services with behavioral health and hospital will bear the administrative burden of 2 managed care models for 2 small communities. Lastly, 9 other counties will likely adopt their ordinances, and Yuba County will become what is known as a medical desert. I spoke several slides ago about our CCS families, and you gentlemen heard me speak at length about those particular families and services at our budget hearing, of which there are 697 in our community, all of whom have Medi-Cal. And through the ears of our CCS parents who live and work in this community and look to you and I to protect their interests and those of their families. You will likely hear from very impressive speakers. We are your trusted advisors. We have no financial incentives that and that's the quality that our families deserve. We bring this proposed ordinance to you for your consideration, presenting all the facts and the best interests of the community this board and this department serves. With that, I will thank you gentlemen for your time and dedication to this community and answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Megan. Are there questions from board members?
No, just a comment that through the board, through the chair. Thank you for finding a positive solution to a not to kind of a pushed on us decision by California. So thank you for very much. Good presentation.
Thank you, Supervisor.
I was curious, did we get letters from Peachtree or Harmony or Adventist saying that they supported the transition?
No, we did not.
Are they in support of the transition?
At least two we are aware are not in support, but we would welcome the opportunity to make this similar presentation to their boards.
I think it's in our hands right now.
So I should clarify, those entities have been a part of the development of this ordinance. We've had several community meetings where folks were afforded the opportunity to provide comment and feedback, and to which we received none.
So AMPLA is one of them. Who's the other one that's not in favor?
We understand that the hospital is currently not in favor.
I see. And you have no knowledge of Peachtree or Harmony, if they're in favor or against?
There's from Harmony, folks are out of the country, it sounds like, and unavailable to be reached. And for Peach, they have not engaged in the conversation to the extent that they're able to provide us with support or otherwise.
So 100% of the actual boots on the ground providers have not given support to the transition. 50%, or 2 of the 4, I should say instead, are opposed. And that's our status. Okay, thank you.
Any other board question? Oh, go ahead, Supervisor Fletcher.
So Megan, I think you presented a fairly well-balanced look at the program. It's pretty persuasive based on the information. You feel very comfortable that you've done due diligence and being neutral, but providing accurate information. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will go ahead and open it up for public comment at this time. Please use the raise hand feature on Zoom if you can. We'll start off with Mr. Flores. I see he has his physical hand up, so we'll do that so I don't forget about him.
Okay.
Just
you're muted.
Mr. Flores, I think we're trying to get you made a co-host so you can unmute yourself. It'll take just a second.
Gary, if we could go ahead and start with someone else. We're still trying to locate him, please.
Sure. Okay. Les, we'll start with you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
just double check. Okay, great, thank you. So my name is Les. I work for Anthem Blue Cross. I'm plan president for Anthem Medi-Cal Health Plan. And just wanted to share a few thoughts with you in the hopes that we can provide a little more of a balanced conversation. So we at Anthem Blue Cross, we've been proudly providing coverage to Yuba County residents for the Medi-Cal program over the last 6 years or so. We have about 17,750 Medi-Cal beneficiaries in the county. I think some of the references to CCS, that's actually a state-run program that's not part of managed care, but we do have a team of associates that coordinate. But I'm here today requesting that Yuba County not approve a change in the Medi-Cal managed care model. As the board considers the implications of this decision, respectfully request that you understand the financial risks involved to the county, the regulatory and compliance implications, the consumer implications, the future innovation that we're all working on, the potential loss of current benefits to your residents. Most importantly, if you approve of a county organized health system or a single health plan model, there's no choice for the Medi-Cal beneficiaries. It's really dictated to them as one plan. So residents would not have that option to choose between the 2 health plans they have today. The state is, about to have a request for proposal process for bidding, competitive bidding across the state. So I'm requesting the opportunity for a competitive bid process A single health plan offering would eliminate that competition, would eliminate the choice, and essentially shut out Anthem from serving your community. I did want to note that we have strong partnerships with local healthcare providers. That includes AMPLA, Health, Rideout, as well as Peachtree and Harmony, long-standing relationships. We work with local community partners to improve and expand our network of services. And one example is our street nursing program that we run with Rideout. We funded homeless programs through county behavioral health that assist people with housing, supplies, for those that live in the riverbed. Anthem Lacrosse, we've been at the forefront of developing new programs that include population health management, enhanced care management, expanding behavioral health services, jail reentry programs, long-term services and supports, housing navigation. We're looking at recuperative care options, even home modifications. We've been working on medically tailored meals and more. And the team at Anthem, we've been working closely with your county teams on these programs, frankly, every step of the way as we look into the future. Some of these programs beginning in January. So we understand the importance. We take that very seriously and exploring the right options for Yuba County. But I do want to underscore that, my personal commitment as Anthem's plan president for the Medi-Cal program, the commitment to serving your residents, our members, and we ask you to strongly consider the impact of your decision on partner community organizations and Medi-Cal beneficiaries. We ask for stakeholder processes that are neutral and an opportunity for us to work together. Moving to a county organized system or single plan model really restricts options for Medi-Cal members. We believe that they're best served by having a choice as they determine what is right for them and their families. And again, just want to reiterate the opportunity for a competitive bid process, because going to a single plan would just award one contract without any option for others to bid. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to comment as you consider this very important change. Welcome additional opportunities for stakeholder feedback. We recognize that this conversation, this major decision for you all, is impacting thousands of residents who receive Medi-Cal benefits. One last item, again, my door is open. I know I've met with some of you supervisors, and I really appreciate the opportunity to comment. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Are we able to hear from Mr. Flores at this point?
Yes, I think you can hear me now. Thank you. I just want to, in the interest of time, I don't want to repeat anything that Mr. Ibarra just said. Just suffice to say that I agree with everything that he expressed, and that's part of the way that Ampla Health feels as well. And I want to also correct some of the statements that were presented by the staff. If they were community meetings allowing participation or input, we were never invited to, we were never informed of those meetings, and we never participate on them. 2 or 3 months ago, when there was the previous presentation, we expressed our concern that we, the providers of care, the primary healthcare providers of care for these patients, have not been involved in the process at all. More than 2 years of conversations, and we were never involved. We were told 2 or 3 months ago that they were going to use these 2 or 3 months precisely to do that. I'm here to tell you that I have not been contacted by anybody from the staff, anybody from Yuba County, anybody from partnership. At one point, in a general meeting with 2 counties, I asked the representative from partnership, how come we have not been approached? And the response was, this is not our job. The job to approach you and to contact you is the county. We deal with the counties. We don't need to talk to you. So the counties, as responsible individuals, the county staff has not contacted us. And the problem with that is that not that we are against partnership. The problem is that we don't know who partnership is because they have never approached us or involved us in any of the conversations. We do not know if this program goes as planned, their size is going to more than duplicate. We do not have any knowledge if they have the capacity to do it. We don't know if they can meet the needs of the place. We don't know what their financial support is or financial capabilities. They have not demonstrated. And the county, in this case, Yuba County and the other counties, are allowing them to come and just say yes without they demonstrating and proving that they have the capacity to do it. Anybody else will have to do that at any level in any situation like this. There's so many lives involved for you to make a decision without really having demonstrated the capacity for them to do it. So we oppose this and we ask for you to not to approve it, just basically because we have not, as the providers and the main providers of primary care in this county and the other counties, we have not had the opportunity to learn who they are or how they operate. And we prefer to stay with a system that will allow option for our members. And by the way, the Department of Health, the DHCS, has confirmed that we can improve on the models that we have. It's not a third option. It's the same option that will allow to improve so we can create local governance if that's where the county chooses. So that is already confirmed that it can be done. I would be more glad to answer any questions.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
To
Okay,
the
well,
chair, could I ask for a comment from Dr. Liu as to?
sure.
Yes,
Thank
thank you. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you, Supervisor Vasquez and Bradford. So if I may provide some clarification, that would be helpful. So way back in 2018, we actually did convene Yuba County and Sutter County Health and Human Services staff, invited all healthcare executives of at that time, Rite Out Hospital, AMPLA, Peachtree, and Harmony Health. And based on our minutes, there was not attendance at that time from AMPLA executives. And then in April, when we were getting ready to present to you all the non-binding letter of intent, we did reach out to all of the 5 healthcare executives, including Sutter North Medical Group. We met multiple times to walk through the process. We also personally invited the CEO of Partnership Health Plan, Ms. Liz Gaboni, and her staff to present to all of the 5 healthcare organizations. And then once the non-binding letters of intent were passed by the boards for Sutter and Yuba County, we actually went ahead and worked on providing a draft ordinance outline, very detailed draft ordinance outline on June 1st, 2021. I personally emailed it to all the executives, and then we convened a meeting about 2 weeks later in the middle of June to discuss and ask for significant feedback. At that time, all of the medical executives were in attendance, except for one, which is Dr. Blair from Sutter North, but no feedback from any of the 5 organizations. In regards to what has happened between the middle of June and now, is that in coordination with Partnership, they are actually doing sort of getting to know you introductory meetings. This started on August 19th as the first one for providers, and they have a series of those meetings throughout the next 4 to 6 weeks. So they want to be very respectful of the busy time and dealing with the Delta surge. So that's why they didn't want to meet just county by county, but they said, let's just do an introductory meeting for providers, for Medi-Cal beneficiaries, community stakeholders, and also for elected officials such as yourself. So hopefully that would provide some clarification. And then lastly, for the benefits that has been relayed about medically tailored meals and other benefits, that is a state mandated coverage of benefits from the Department of Healthcare Services called CalAIM, and it does not change whether it be the current 2 commercial plans or if we go to partnership health plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Mr. Rawson, we'll go with you next.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank the Deputy Director for an excellent overview of a very complicated issue. We supported the LOI, and the one thing I do want to correct there is our position as opposed. I would not characterize it as that. We supported the LOI, even though there had been very limited involvement of any of the providers, if any, prior to that coming forward, which was a concern of ours, which, as Dr. Liu pointed out, the county did host a number of meetings to introduce us to where they were trying to go with this, and that was appreciated. Unfortunately, prior to that, the primary stakeholders had not been involved, and the initial LOI caught us a little bit by surprise. We supported the LOI because we believe that this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for our communities to design a system of care that works here in our community. We believe there's a significant opportunity to build integration, to receive delegated risk, to have local governance, and to design both social and clinical services in an integrated way that can best serve our community in our way. And our vision highly aligns with what the county is trying to accomplish in that. As the Deputy Director pointed out, you know, I could, some of the things I've written look a lot like that. I think we have a lot of alignment of what we want in terms of goal and a vision. I think the only question is, what are the alternatives, and is a COES model the best way to get there? You know, we do not support just more of the same, and I've been clear with the health plans and the county about that. The regional model has been practiced, has resulted in many of the things that the Deputy Director pointed out, and significant frustration among providers who are just trying to take care of patients. So the question is, what choices do we have? And I would say in March, we had 3 or 4 choices. However, as time passes, we're really down to 2, as she pointed out. And one is re-procurement of the regional model, and 2 is the county organized health system. The question around re-procurement, though, is the regional model, if it could look significantly different and build in local governance control aligning with the vision that we had, does that get us where we need to go? And I think that is the only open question right now. Our position right now is we want these alternatives to continue to be evaluated. We're not standing in opposition to the COES, nor are we suggesting that that is the only model. We would like an engaged process with the to try to attempt to provide consensus among the primary stakeholders and providers of care, with the opportunity for the health plans to tell us how they would do that. I still have questions whether partnership, being that we're one of 20 counties, is going to give us the delegation that we would like to see to design the model here that we would like. And I believe we need to get that answered before we say unequivocally that we support that alternative. On the other hand, the health plans have made some effort to try to design something that looks very different going forward. And I think that should be heard as well. We're not standing here supporting more of the same. That's the last thing we want. And I think we've been clear, and I think that was the message that had been given in the past to the county as they did this. We would like to see, though, more engagement in the decision-making process of the key stakeholders in this process, not just for financial reasons, but really because we all care for the same thing, the patients, the community, and how do we build the best system of care possible. We all want to be engaged in that process and be partners with the county in designing that. And so going forward, we want to make sure that that we take that accountability and responsibility, that we will be given a seat at the table to be able to accomplish that aligned vision that we have. So thank you very much for allowing me to make some comments this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Rawson. Mr. Chairman? Able to find him, Mary, and get him unmuted. There we go.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chair Bradford and members of the board, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Brian Ternan. I'm the president and CEO of HealthNet and California Health and Wellness. California Health and Wellness is currently providing Medi-Cal services to more than 9,800 members in Yuba County, and we've partnered with the county since 2013. I'm here to urge you to reject the proposed model change ordinance before you today, and this will give the board time to consider alternative models that we have put in place that have proven successful in other rural counties. As stated earlier, the board does have until October 10th to pass this ordinance, so there's still time to pause and evaluate options. I did send a letter outlining our various concerns with this proposed ordinance and the permanent widespread implications it would have on Medi-Cal members in your county. I just want to touch on a few points today. I was glad to hear staff confirm that improving on what you have today is an option, according to the DHCS. And I understand this is a complex issue. I think you're hearing some of that now. As was just stated, I think some of the providers have some unanswered questions. What we've presented to staff and others is an alternative approach, which does provide significant county control. Again, this is not, as Rick just said, more of the same. This is improving on the current model. We've done this in other rural counties. We have very high satisfaction from both our county partners and members. So with approval of this ordinance, the county would proceed in withdrawing from the upcoming competitive procurement being conducted by the state, meaning that the county will not have the opportunity to receive and evaluate competing proposals for your Medi-Cal population. At the same time, there's been insufficient time over the past few months to conduct enough due diligence between Partnership Health Plan, DHCS, your current plans, and your providers. So combined with the lack of details in the ordinance, approval today seems premature and potentially problematic for your Medi-Cal constituents. In short, the ordinance commits you to a path and partnership without many necessary details, while requiring you to circumvent the transparent competitive bidding process and have you move forward solely with Partnership Health Plan. Rejecting the ordinance today allows you to keep your options open to consider other Medi-Cal delivery models that will better suit your needs and the needs of your constituents. As I mentioned, California Health and Wellness has experience with alternative models that have proven very successful in other rural counties. These models are founded on local governance and local decision-making around community investments. We've met with DHCS. They've confirmed that our proposed alternative is indeed an option for your county and others in the region and is not part of model change. So we're committed to ongoing service in your county. We'd like the opportunity to explore innovative delivery systems within your region. We'd like the opportunity to bring in representatives from other counties that have lived with this model for 8 years, this alternative model, to let them share our learnings and our successes. We've developed strong collaborative and beneficial relationships in your county with local providers, with community-based organizations and others to supplement and enhance the services we provide to our community. So I appreciate your consideration. I look forward to the opportunity to continue to explore a shared vision for the region and an alternative path forward that's superior to the narrow one being considered today. Thank you.
To the chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Dr. Liu? Oh, you know,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
we
So, yeah.
worked hard on this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think to provide clarification is that the model that's being referenced is based out of Imperial County, and it's not the same. So Imperial County in 2013 and transitioned from a Medi-Cal fee-for-service system into a 2-plan regional model with one plan dominating the market at 80% and one plan has 20% of the market share. We don't have that. We actually have 2 very robust plans. One has 65% and one has 35%. So we're not starting from the same baseline as the Imperial County model. For us to even progress to the reference local governance and benefits to a wellness fund, if we require a lot of provisional steps to be accommodated and actually approved. So one, in the commercial RFP request for proposal through the State Department of Healthcare Services, it will require our current 2 commercial health plans to be in rebidding to actually be approved. So that's step number 1. And then step number 2 is if one out of those 2 plans would then have to aggressively push down the market share of the other plan to make ensure that 80% split as was being noted in Imperial County. And then based on that aggressive dominant plan would maybe be considered to have enough of market share to then bring back incentives in terms of a wellness fund and local governance. And then on top of that, a reference to a single plan non-coast model is not possible without federal waiver through the 1115 waiver of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. So it's a very arduous process with lots of unknowns and lots of potential hiccups. So that is something that I really want to provide clarification on. Yeah.
And Chair Bradford, if I may also offer, just to simplify what Dr. Liu has just stated, California Health and Wellness and Anthem, regardless of your decision on September 14th, will be required to recompete. There's no guarantee that they will be the plans that are selected if we did stay in a regional model. And so there is no guarantee that we can, as Mr. Turnan said, improve upon what currently exists. And just to want to also clarify that the next process would not be available to us until 2029, which is when Imperial expects to complete their single plan model. So they are not in completion of this or full adoption of this at this point and don't expect to be until 2029.
And also that their expectation is just an expectation. There's no guarantee as of right now that Imperial County would be granted the 1115 federal waiver. It's a very arduous process because it really requires a modification and approval through the Social Security Act of 1965 with section 1115 for that waiver. Yeah.
Thank you very much, staff. Thank you to all of the public that commented. I don't see an additional public comment at this time, so I will return it to the board. Any board comments or questions? And if not, then I will
I'll move to close the public hearing and introduce the ordinance pertaining to joining Partnership Health Plan of California.
So I would like to thank everyone for speaking today. I think you've brought great information back to the board. I do have concerns that if we don't move down this track, we would be the only entity by ourselves, and that in of itself is a huge concern on my mind. Having said that, I will second Andy's motion.
Okay, I have a first from Supervisor Vasquez and a second from Supervisor Fletcher. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
No.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we will move on to, looks like counting some ballots. Item 415, 2021, Community Development and Services, public hearing. Hold public hearing to consider an establishment of assessments of county service area number 57, accept engineer's report and tabulate ballots. Absent a majority protest, I believe that should say, adopt a resolution with an assessment structure for the maintenance of roads and drainage in county surface area number 57. In the event of a majority protest, begin the process of dissolution of the CSA. Okay, Dan?
Morning, Chairman Bradford, members of the board. I'm actually going to turn over this item to Mr. Craig Herbert. He has all the information ready and they're ready to tally the ballots.
Great, thank you. I will also open the public hearing if I haven't done so already.
Morning to the chair and the board, Craig Herbert, Construction Manager, Public Works. The board approved staff to initiate Proposition 218 process on June 22nd for CSA 57 and set this public hearing. The staff recommends the board hold the public hearing to consider either the establishment of assessment or dissolution of County Service Area 57 and tabulate the ballots. CSA 57 was created in 1993 and has been inactive since its creation. Pending the outcome of the vote, we'll adopt a resolution at a future board meeting for the establishment of an assessment or begin the dissolution process. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions from the board at this point? Is there any public comment on this item at this point? Okay, you can continue on, Craig.
I think we'll count some ballots.
Okay, through the chair, just want you to know that we have a total of 7 envelopes. I will go ahead and open them. I have opened the first ballot. The first ballot is APN 050-430-009-000. And it's disapproved. Second ballot is APN 050-430-003. And it is disapproved. Okay, next ballot, I should probably do it that way, is property address APN is 050-430-004-000. It is disapproved. Next ballot, APN is 050-430-011-000. It is disapproved. Next ballot APN is 050-430-010-000. And it is disapproved. Next ballot is 050-430-008-000, and it is disapproved. Our last envelope consists of 2 ballots. Actually, 1 ballot and a letter. APN is 050-430-007-000, and it is disapproved. And that is all the ballots.
Okay, thank you. Well, it looks like that's a very clear mandate from the residents there in the CSA. So do we need a motion based on the results of the election to begin the process of dissolution? Is that a correct next step?
Yes, I think so.
Through the chair, are you going to close the public hearing? If
Yes.
there's no one speaking.
I'll close the public hearing since we don't have anyone interested in speaking at this time.
And through the chair, it would be appropriate at this point in time for the board to entertain a motion to direct staff to begin the dissolution proceeding.
I'll make that motion.
So I got 2 there. I'm going to pick Supervisor Fuhrer, and then I assume Supervisor Fletcher. That'll be a second from you.
That's correct.
Okay. So with that, roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes, Mary, can you check? You've got 7 ballots, but only 6 votes.
Oh, probably have to hit enter on that one you're still on. There you go. Now I bet you got 7.
Okay. Yes.
Good catch, Supervisor.
Supervisor Fuhrer,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher. Supervisor Fletcher.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much. Thank you, staff. So next is correspondence as listed on the agenda. And then we will move to board and staff member reports. So Supervisor Vasquez.
Okay. Ran across a interesting report in the New York Magazine. It's called "The Science of Making Kids at School Remains Uncertain. Science of Masking Kids at School." Interesting reading for the board if you would take the time. The public comment, I think we took the mandate that they requested under advisement by county council, and I don't know how we ended up there. Did we decide anything on that, county council?
I provided preliminary drafts to the board members, and I believe that the matter will come forward in the next couple of meetings.
All right. I have a question for Kevin Mellon. I've got some, when making chicken soup, first you need the chicken. We're trying to open schools, and yet we don't have buses or drivers. Now, this is not a new situation. It's dragged on for a long time. And it's my understanding that you reached out to the school board to offer assistance. Is that correct?
So Supervisor Vasquez, I reached out to Yuba Center Transit to see if there was assistance for the schools. I found out from Yuba Center Transit that they had already reached out to the school, specifically Marysville Joint Unified School District. Unfortunately, there are school bus drivers and public transit drivers that they don't cross directly over. 2 different, I guess, licensing, or maybe one's got an enhancement on the license. Yuba Center Transit is experiencing the same problem that all of our school districts are experiencing, and frankly, every school district in the country right now is experiencing lack of bus drivers. I don't know
Okay,
where they
is
all
it-
went, but they're not driving buses anymore. And so everybody has the same problem right now.
one of the solutions was provided by President Ready, Shoot, Aim Biden, was raise the pay. Is that an option that the school board has explored, or I've got people in here. It really doesn't do much good if we can't get the kids to school. I've got a community that's very, we're pretty dense in this area. We have a number of kids. I had a grandparent with 6 kids that he's raising, and it's very important to the people of Yuba County. And is there any way we can get involved? Staff, both the water agency here has spoiled us with coming up with solutions to problems, regardless of how difficult they are. They say that difficult we do immediately, the impossible takes a little longer. And I'm not willing to throw in the towel and say, there's got to be an answer. Is there anything that we can do to spark new ideas?
I can continue the dialogue.
Okay.
And see if there's a creative light goes off. But as of now, it's an issue that doesn't just plague Yuba County, it plagues every county in the nation.
Just because it plagues all those other counties doesn't mean there's not a solution that one county can come up with. And you tell staff you spoiled us. We're used to having difficult solutions. And another one is just to congratulate Dr. Liu on working very hard to provide a positive solution to so many people's complaints in the community. And that'll do it for me.
Thank you. Supervisor Blazer?
No real report, but I just back up what Andy's saying. I talked to the new principal at Covalot, and she's really struggling to get some of her outlying students in. So it's a real problem.
Yeah. Supervisor Fuhrer?
On a positive note, I'd like to say that we're going to be doing our Oliverhurst garbage cleanup on this Saturday from 8 to noon at the airport. So please, if you have any debris in your yards in Oliverhurst, let's clean that up and haul it off to the garbage. So there is flyers of that on my website you can take a look at. In response to the many citizens who spoke about their concerns, I think it is important to find ways to give people what they're asking for. That is, we're supposed to be representing them. And so I do find it a little disappointing that we haven't been able to move forward on their directive that they want to see the mandate of vax have a resolution against that in our community. So I would very much look forward to that being on our next agenda, since for some reason it wasn't on this one. And I guess that whole idea of giving people that representation and that voice, we have 4 or 5 healthcare providers that aren't in favor of the resolution or the ordinance that we just affirmed. And that confuses me as well. We need to be not a top-down government, but a grassroots, bottoms-up, giving people what they want, not what we dictate they will have. And so I'd like to see more of that. And lastly, we have a gentleman who passed away in our community, Larry Patty, Oliverhurst teacher, FFI, Lyndhurst. And we just want to commemorate this meeting in honor of all of the time and dedication he gave to making this community better and enriching students' lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Fletcher?
You can hold on just 1 second.
Okay, we'll come back in a second. Council?
Nothing for me. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thumbs up from Supervisor Fletcher if you're ready.
Oh. Sorry, the phones just keep overrunning here. So I would recommend to Supervisor Vasquez and Supervisor Blazer, there's applications available for bus drivers. If you have that opportunity, I would take advantage of it and volunteer to be a bus driver. That would be very helpful. Of course, in our spare time, that's what we do.
You know, you sound like half the Facebook that I ran across there. Thank you very much, Randy. I will
CAO Mallon. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Randy. Didn't mean to cut you off.
And a quick question for Dan Peterson. Dan, there some months back we had talked about sirens in the foothills. We had a proposal primarily in the lower hills, and I think it was kicked back to just a specific area in the upper hills. Have you heard back from that company?
No, I sent them a request to provide us with a updated map, coverage map, if we located the sirens more strategically around Brownsville. I have not received that map back, so I'll follow up with them.
That'd be great. Would appreciate that. Thank you.
CAO Mallon.
It's a lengthy meeting, so I'll keep it short, but I do want to make sure the board is aware, and I guess for the public too that's still listening in, it's the September 14th board meeting. The election is that day, the recall election, and so the board chambers is not available, and that is why it'll be a Zoom format like we had today. The other thing that I wanted to make sure the board and the public is aware of is that we do have a high number of COVID cases in the workplace right now, and I am allowing individual departments to make adjustments to their operations in order to accommodate the cases. So you're going to see changes in different departments based on a continuity of business need. So like, for example, in the elections office right now, they have some different protocols that they've implemented in order to kind of preserve continuity of their workforce. And you're going to see that in some of the other departments as well. And it's just something we're having to work through right now due to the high number of COVID positive cases in our workplace and in the community as well. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. I don't have much either. I guess I'll just mention that this Friday night, it's Wheatland playing Marysville in football. And so the Yuba Cup is up for grabs, and Supervisor Blazer and I will be there. And I haven't talked to him yet about this, but hopefully if he's interested, we'll have a small wager on the game where the loser has to donate some money to the winner's boosters club. So anyway, are you up for that, Supervisor Blazer?
I am. Just stay on top of me about the timing.
I will. I think it's, I'll double check. I think it's 7:30 on Friday for the varsity game.
Okay.
So, but I'll double check that and get back to you. And okay, with that, we do have 4 closed session items on the agenda as listed. And so we will take a 10-minute break, and then we will we'll go into closed session. So for board members and staff that need to be in closed session, if you wait until you get moved into the room and then take the 10-minute break, that would be great.
Mary, are you going to move us over? No.
I thought so, but looks like she stepped somewhere. So
She's probably gone in to assist Michelle making that
okay.
transition. So it's really nice to see you all.
Hello,
Michelle.
You too.
I'll be back in just a day or two. So
excellent.
Looking forward to it.
Have you thought about driving a bus in your spare time?
That's really funny. No. I will when Kevin and Mike also volunteer.
Oh, I'm all in.
All right, I'll go ahead and I'll get the applications and send them to y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
Rochelle, if we take our break now and we get moved into the room, we'll move automatically. Is that correct? Or do we have to click something?
I think it'll pop up on your screen. And so if you walk away from your screen and come back, you should have a little pop up there.
Still be there? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I will, we can start the break now, and then when we come back, hopefully we'll have a dialogue on our screen.
And if not, give us a call.
Okay.
I still don't have movement.
Hi, Seth. So you're still sitting at your computer and you haven't got the notice yet?
Correct.
I haven't either.
Okay.
We're working on it, you guys. We're trying to get it to open up. You're there, the framework's there, but it's not cooperating. So hold on 1 second.
Let's see, how can I get there? That's,
Looks like they're still working on it, I assume, since we're all still here and I haven't seen a dialogue yet.
okay. Hey, Jill. Whatever you did, you look very nice today. I'm just, it's a, am I allowed to say that?
Thank you. That's very nice.
You can't say that.
I can't say that?
Yes, sir, you are allowed to compliment people.
Okay. Well, you know, letters when we don't recognize the hair color change, which might be a minor tint or something. Oh, well.
Now,
give me time. I can put both my feet in my mouth.
Understand, I'm not very woke, so my advice might be stale.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. People should say things, you know. Let me know if I got green stuff on my teeth. You know?
We'll give you a heads up. We'll put the hand up. We still have 21 participants. We don't have a breakout room.
No, I saw at the bottom of my screen, I saw the breakout room option down there a few minutes ago, but now it's gone.
Mary, quit messing with us. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Well, I'm stuck out in front of my house with the carpet cleaning being done.
Oh,
and we hope I don't lose connections.
I need to get that done.
Oh, God. It's easier to sell the house and move all the furniture, you know, twice.
I can still hear all that.
If we have to,
it's innocuous.
If we're not able to get this resolved, I can send out a link for another meeting.
I think that would probably be the better option, Gary.
Okay, let me send it to you,
You're gonna
Mary.
have
I'll
to-
just send you a link and then you can send it out to those that need to be in closed session.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely
you're-
go ahead and do that and we'll do it that way.
Okay.
You're gonna have to eliminate me. Because this is my wife's computer and all I do on it is Zoom. So I don't have computer I can link to, and
Well, we
it's
could
in-
give you the meeting information. Via.
You need to get yourself your own laptop.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
everybody likes the smart.
leave here to get a link, so I'll see you guys over there.
Well,
Yes, I know.
not me.
Yeah, never mind. I'm gonna get everybody in session. Okay. So Jennifer. Dr. Lou.
My laptop doesn't do internet. Well, I'm in the same room as Dr. Lou, so I guess I'm okay.
Hang on, don't.
Did it work?
We'll have to talk about that meeting, that little item.
Let's see.
All right.
Still waiting. Mike, do you want to let me know who exactly needs to go in the first time on the first closed session item?
Yeah, I need Jill, Kevin, all the board members, and Don Turco.
Got it.
I can probably do it on the phone, couldn't I?
Yes, you could do it on the phone.
Try to do that. I know what you all look like, so.
Oh,
Kelly Kells is going, Andy. Don't do that anymore.
oh, okay.
You should all be receiving that link. If you could go ahead and join. Jill, I went ahead and added yourself and Don Turco also to the email. So
I caught part of that, Mary. I don't have a join. I don't have a join.
actually, Randy, what happened is if you go to your emails, there's a new Zoom meeting there. That's for everyone that's supposed to join closed session.
So you want me to leave this meeting and go to the new meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Andy, if you could do the same, go to your email and then just click on the link and it'll take you to closed session. Sorry about that. I had to start the recording. Let me get everybody in.
Okay, so we have a quorum and legal counsel's unmuted. So will you do the report out?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The board met in closed session, all members being present on items 406, 2021, 427, 2021, 432, 2021, and 433, 2021. No reportable action was taken at that time. That concludes the report out from closed session.
Great. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And good night.